Every person's greatness is shaped by the quality of their thoughts, and this timeless truth has been proven over and over by the most successful people in history. There is a famous saying that goes, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." But if our thoughts truly create our reality, why do so many people find themselves stuck in a cycle of struggle? Do they simply lack a vision for the future? Or have they forgotten the incredible potential hidden inside them? Today's story is going to answer these deep questions and offer a lesson so powerful it might just change the way you look at your own life. We'll also be using common American English words and phrases to help you improve your speaking skills, so I hope you'll stay with me until the very end. I promise this story will be a great use of your time. Once, at the bottom of a very steep and rocky hill known as Eagle Point, there lived a man named Jacob. Jacob was in his early 40s, and life had not been kind to him lately. He spent his days sitting on a dusty patch of dirt right where the hiking trail began. This trail led to a beautiful spot high above where people could see the entire valley. Because the climb was so long and difficult, many travelers would stop at the bottom to catch their breath before starting the journey. Jacob would sit there with an old faded baseball cap resting on his knees, hoping that some of the hikers would drop a few coins inside. Most days, he just watched the expensive shoes of the tourists pass him by. He felt invisible and forgotten. He believed that he was poor because he was unlucky, and he thought that since he had lost his job a long time ago, he had nothing left to offer the world. He was waiting for someone to save him, but no one ever did. One hot morning, a man named Mr. Whitman arrived at the trailhead. Mr. Whitman was about 60 years old, but he looked very strong and fit. He wore high-quality hiking gear and carried a heavy backpack, ready for the long climb to the top. As Mr. Whitman stopped to tie his laces, Jacob leaned forward and shook his cap, making the few small coins inside jingle. "Excuse me, sir," Jacob said in a quiet, tired voice. "I haven't had a good meal in a long time. Could you find it in your heart to help a man who has nothing? Anything you can give would be a blessing." Mr. Whitman stopped what he was doing and looked at Jacob. He didn't look angry, but his eyes were very sharp and serious. He didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he stood up straight and asked a very strange question. "I'm a man who believes in a fair deal, Jacob. So tell me, what are you selling today? What is the price of that coin you want from me?" Jacob was shocked. He had never heard anything like that before. "Selling?" Jacob replied, feeling a bit frustrated. "Sir, you can see I am a man with nothing. I live in the dirt. I have no store, no goods, and no money. I am just asking for a little kindness because I have nothing to give back." Mr. Whitman shook his head slowly and smiled a very calm smile. "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you have no right to ask for anything in return," he said. "The world doesn't work on handouts. It works on exchange. I am an architect. I spend my life building things that provide value to people, and in return, they give me the means to live. If you want something from me, you must provide something for me. That is the only way a man keeps his dignity. If you have nothing to offer, then I have nothing to give you." Without another word, Mr. Whitman turned around and began the long, difficult walk up the hill. Jacob sat there in silence, his face turning red with shame and anger. He thought Mr. Whitman was the most arrogant man he had ever met. "How can he expect me to give him something?" Jacob muttered. "I'm the one who needs help." But as the sun moved across the sky and the air became still, those words kept echoing in his mind. If you want to receive, you must first give. For the first time in years, Jacob didn't look at the hiker's pockets. He looked at the ground around him. He realized that for a long time, he had been acting like a taker. He had expected the world to fill his cap, while he offered nothing but his own sadness. A big storm blew through the valley. The wind was very loud, and the rain was heavy. The next morning, the trail was covered in broken branches and heavy debris. As Jacob sat at his usual spot, he watched an elderly couple struggle to walk over the slippery mud and the fallen wood. He saw a young child trip over a loose stone. Suddenly, a spark of an old memory came back to him. Before he lost everything, Jacob had been a very good woodworker. He knew how to handle timber and how to make things smooth. He stood up, walked into the brush, and picked up a long, sturdy branch that had fallen from an oak tree. It was heavy and rough, but it was strong. He spent the entire morning using a sharp stone and a small pocket knife he had kept to peel away the bark. He scraped and rubbed the wood until it was smooth to the touch. By noon, he had created a beautiful, solid walking stick. When the next group of hikers arrived, Jacob didn't hold out his cap. He stood up, held the walking stick out, and said, "The trail is very slippery today, friends. This stick will keep you steady on the climb. If you can help me with a few coins, this stick is yours to keep." To his surprise, a man in the group smiled and handed him a large bill. "Thank you, buddy. This is exactly what I needed," the man said. Jacob felt a rush of energy he hadn't felt in years. He didn't feel like a beggar anymore. He felt like a provider. He spent the rest of the day gathering more branches, cleaning them, and smoothing them out. He even began to carve small designs into the top of the sticks to make them look nice. People weren't just giving him money out of pity anymore. They were paying for a tool that made their journey easier. The more value he put into the sticks, the more generously people paid him. He noticed that his thoughts were changing. He wasn't thinking about how poor he was. He was thinking about how to find better wood and how to make his carvings more beautiful. One afternoon, a few weeks later, Mr. Whitman returned. He was coming down the hill after a long hike. Jacob stood up, picked up his best piece, a dark, polished walking stick with a smooth handle, and walked over to him. "Mr. Whitman," Jacob said, standing tall, "I have something for you today. It's a fair exchange. This stick will make your next climb much easier. It's a handmade piece, and I'd like to sell it to you." Mr. Whitman looked at the stick. Then he looked at Jacob's clean face and bright eyes. He reached into his pocket, gave Jacob more money than anyone else had, and took the stick. "Today," Mr. Whitman said, "you are no longer a man with nothing. You are a businessman." 5 years passed by. One day, a brand new truck pulled up to the trailhead at Eagle Point. Out stepped a well-dressed man who looked confident and successful. He walked toward a small, beautiful wooden cabin that had been built right at the start of the trail. The sign on the cabin said, "Jacob's Mountain Gear." Inside, the walls were covered with high-quality walking sticks, handmade maps, and supplies for hikers. An older man was looking at a display of carved wooden bears when the shop owner walked in. The two men looked at each other and shared a knowing smile. "It's good to see you, Mr. Whitman," Jacob said. Mr. Whitman looked around at the thriving business. "I see you've been busy, Jacob. What changed?" Jacob picked up a simple, smooth stick from the counter. "I finally understood what you told me that day. I realized that my situation wasn't the problem. My mindset was. I stopped waiting for people to help me and started looking for ways to help them. I learned that as long as I can provide value, I will never be poor again." The secret wasn't in the coins I received, but in the effort I gave. The story of Jacob teaches us that the greatest transformation starts within our own minds. We often spend our lives waiting for a lucky break or for someone to recognize our needs, but true success only comes when we focus on what we can offer to the world. Whether you're starting a new career or just trying to improve your daily life, remember that you are never truly empty-handed. You have talents, time, and energy that someone else needs. When you stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "How can I serve?" you reclaim your dignity and unlock your true potential. If you want to change your circumstances, you must first change your contribution. If this story touched your heart and helped you practice your English today, please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next lesson. We believe that every story is a chance to grow, and we want to be part of your journey toward a better mindset and better English. Like this video to help us reach more people, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this message today. Keep dreaming, keep giving, and I will see you in the next story.